Hi guys, my name is Venandah and I'm here with you from the Voice of Birmingham, and joining me today is Andy Street, who's the Conservative candidate for the mayoral elections 2017. Hi Andy.
So good morning everybody, great to be on Voice of Birmingham, and Venandah, looking forward to our conversation.
Thank you. I wanted to know, and I'm sure the young people wanted to know, how did you find the ITV bus tour that happened yesterday? It's a very new initiative and something that we were all quite intrigued by.
Yes, in fact it was great fun. We started off in Birmingham city centre, then went out to Wolverhampton and then to Coventry, and there were groups of questioners at the three locations. So we got out and about across the whole West Midlands, and I rather enjoyed it.
Wow, it's like a quick way of finding everybody and really getting yourselves out there, so that's brilliant. Just so that we can kickstart and give young people a chance to really get to know more about your manifesto, I wanted to know, you mentioned wanting to eradicate youth unemployment, and with a 15.5% average in the West Midlands, which is above the national average, how do you plan on doing that without almost reinventing the wheel? Because there's so many organisations who are trying to do the same thing. So what makes you different and what makes you the man for the job?
Okay, so the first thing to say is we are making good progress. You're right, there are too many people who are still facing that situation, but the fact is we have made good progress. So across the West Midlands, youth unemployment has fallen by about 50% over the last 4 years, so we're halfway there, you could say. And in some areas, Coventry and Walsall, it's actually been an even bigger, faster fall than that. So what we're left with is about half of the situation that we had 4 years ago. You're also right to say there's lots of different organisations playing their part, but there's nothing that actually glues it all together. And what I've said is I'm determined to do this because it's so important in terms of young people setting out on life. So what I'm very sure of is if we make sure that everything comes together in a coordinated way, everybody's energy, some new money that we've got, some new initiatives that we're committed to, we can achieve this, and I'm happy to be judged on this in 3 years' time.
Brilliant. So you mentioned how you want to be the glue, which sounds like a great thing. So how do you actually plan to be the bridge between the different organisations and the young people?
Yeah, so if you look at what's happening at the moment over skills, there's actually no one person who's really responsible for all of this. There's no overall system or structure for the whole of the West Midlands. It happens in slightly different ways in different places. And the critical thing we're saying is we set a big target like that, and then you put in place the structures that actually make that happen. And you know, that's what you do in business. You set yourself an ambition, and then you say, how are you going to do it? How are you going to organise yourself? Who actually delivers this? And you also have to bring in some new initiatives. So I'll give you one example. We've set up in Birmingham and through the local enterprise partnership, the work coaches work, where individual people who are facing unemployment have had a coach from the Department of Work and Pensions to actually get them back into work. It's individual and it has worked. About 20,000 people have now gone back into work in the most disadvantaged areas of Birmingham, and we want to extend that across the whole of the conurbation.
Wow, it's nice to see that you're keeping up to date with what's happening, and this leads me on nicely to want to hear about how are you going to involve young people, because to help the youth you need to engage with the youth. So how have you been engaging with young people so far in your campaign?
Yeah, that's so important, because frankly this mayoralty is all about the young people. This is about restoring the economic leadership here for the benefit of the young people, frankly. They're the most important group of all. And what I've tried to do through the campaign is get out and about, meet community groups, be involved with the bloggers, be involved with representatives of young people, whether they be professionals, so the Birmingham Futures, or whether they be, as I say, bloggers in cafes in Moseley. Equally, we've been doing that. So very much trying to think of what are the new young ways in which young people communicate and actually meet in their places, in their ways. Not in a sense sort of do a done to, but try to be part of the way in which young people are all working together
so
anyway.
Like integrating yourself into the system.
That's the critical thing. Often politicians, I think, say what should be done and are almost sort of a bit distant and lecturing. I reckon our way through this, the modern way of thinking about this, is actually that integrationist approach.
Okay. With this integration approach, I'm just trying to understand how it's going to work in terms of, will you be completely separate from the young people, or will it be a case where there's a body of young people that help with advising because in London you have the London mayor, but you also have young mayors, and they help towards bridging the gap between the mayor and the young people. So what will you do to be able to...
So it's very interesting you raise that. So I do not think the answer is a formal structure like that, because actually young people in this city have already got all their structures that are working, whether they be students' unions or whether they be informal networks, as we've already talked about, blogging networks, or whether they be sort of digital clubs. And what I think we've got to do is glue into those networks that already exist rather than set up something completely different. So that's where I really want to connect. And we're actually sitting in front of one of these boards as well, which talks about Ask Andy. I've said in my manifesto I want to be the most accessible mayor anywhere in Britain, but just being available for those networks to ask questions of. And that's what we want to do, not have a separate structure which is disconnected from daily life.
So
it's quite a different approach.
it definitely is, because you mentioned how there's already stuff there, but with all the cuts that happen to be youth service, and I know when I was a youth councillor, a lot of youth clubs went, and the people that used to represent young people are gone. So how will you bridge that gap when that sort of engagement is no longer there?
But young people have still got networks, haven't they? Even if it's not formally structured in that way. Your organisation is one of those networks, isn't it? Lots of professional organisations have youth networks as well. Lots of community groups have youth networks. And what I'm saying is I want to use what's already there. Sport, culture, they're other things that are really critical in those networks, and let's connect into those.
Okay, that sounds interesting. You spoke about connecting, and one thing that's really important to young people in this election is to have a mayor who's well connected and will bring a lot of infrastructure, opportunities and industry into the West Midlands. So what will you do, or what makes you the right man to make Brexit for the West Midlands attractive?
Oh, there's at least three questions in there. Let's just take the first two then. So you're absolutely right. This is about choosing one person to lead the West Midlands and bring in investment. And you actually do that by making the case, predominantly I have to say, to central government in London for investment here. And let's just think about our transport system. We've got just 16 miles of tram from Wolverhampton to Birmingham, quite simply because we have not made a good enough investment case in the past. So to answer your question head on, I reckon my background, putting investment cases together for business, and indeed here for the West Midlands, all the cash we've now got for investing in transport in this deal that set up the mayor, I've personally been doing that, and I can bring that record into this role. Do you want me to say a bit about Brexit as well?
Feel free.
Okay, because you mentioned that, so I probably should say that. So, Brexit. Critical part of our plan is who can make a success of Brexit for the West Midlands. And the way the mayor's got to do that, because they won't be actually formally doing the negotiation with the EU, government ministers will be doing that. The mayor's got to make sure our Prime Minister, other ministers know what really matters here for businesses of the future. And so my job is to make sure they really, really know. And I reckon those personal connections, having the telephone numbers of every government minister in your phone, that's how you make that happen.
So you're willing to get stuck in and really get the job done face to face?
Spot on, and I think anyone who looks at my track record, that's what I've done in the past, so that's what I want to do here.
That's brilliant. So just to quickly finish off, what makes you the man that we should vote for, the man who we should put our trust in for the next 3 years, 4 years, or whenever your term is to increase, should you win?
Yes, so it's a 3-year term initially, then another election, but you're probably right, to really, really do a full job, you probably do need to stand for re-election in 3 years' time. But let's answer your question head on. So the first thing to say is I am a local chap. I grew up here. I know what this place is all about. It's in my heart. Second thing, look at my record, whether it be in business or here, bringing politicians and businesses together in the local enterprise partnership, winning that investment, and you see the benefit of that in city centre redevelopment at the moment. But probably the most important thing to say is that a guy who I can relate to, I can feel confident as our representative round the world? Has he got a decent value set? Would I feel comfortable him standing there behind a little sign which said Birmingham or West Midlands. Is he a decent fellow? And I know that's hard to judge, but I'm happy for my sort of value set to be examined in that way.
Thank you so much. Are there any final words that you'd like to share with our young people before we end the interview?
The obvious final word is this is a new opportunity for the West Midlands. I think it's a sort of once in a generation opportunity. It's why I've given up my day job to serve the people of the West Midlands. So please go and vote. Young people must always remember the sacrifices that have been given up for the right to vote. So use that right and think carefully about who can deliver success for you and this region going forward. Thank you very much.
And there you have it. That was Andy Street talking about why he deserves your vote. He spoke about a variety of things, so it's now time for you to make your decision and make your vote on the 4th of May. Thank you.